In today's video, we're going to be doing the X and Y intercepts practice. So we're going to start with number 2 because number 1 is a repeat from a previous worksheet. So it says, in the standard XY coordinate plane, at what point does the graph y equals 7x equals, or y minus 7x equals negative 10 cross the y-axis? So here's the thing. When something crosses the y-axis, I'm just going to sketch a little line. When something crosses the y-axis, that means that it's a y-intercept. And when a line is a y-intercept, that means that the x value is 0 and the y value is a number. So if we're trying to solve when it crosses the y-axis, we're looking for a y-intercept, so that's when x equals 0. So this equation, y minus 7x equals negative 10, I'm actually just going to plug in a 0 for x and solve for y. So y minus 7 times 0 equals negative 10. Y equals negative 10. So this line will cross the y-axis at negative 10. Anytime you're dealing with intercepts, if you're solving for a y-intercept, you make x 0. If you're solving for an x-intercept, you make y 0. Number 3, which of the following equations represents a line that is parallel to the x-axis? So to do this problem, parallel to the x-axis, I'm going to go ahead and draw an xy coordinate plane. Here it is. If it's parallel to the x-axis, that means that the line must go this direction, which has a slope of 0. Any line that's parallel to the y-axis, that is y equals some number. So looking at number 1, or option A, this has a slope of 1/2. In these problems, the slope is 0 because it is horizontal. Well, y equals 18 matches y equals a number, so B is the correct answer. X equals negative 2, that would be a vertical line, so we don't want to use that one. Number 4, let me zoom out just a little. In the following figure, lines M and N are parallel, so I'm going to go ahead and put that down. The value of x is 36. What is the value of y? So this is 36. In this problem, those are same-side consecutive angles, consecutive interior angles, and those are supplementary. So I would do y plus 180 equals, y plus 36, sorry, equals 180. I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides, and when I do that, I get an answer of 144, which is option E. Number 5, in the xy coordinate plane, what is the value of the x-intercept? Remember, when it's an x-intercept, that is when y equals 0. It's a number, comma, 0. So that's important. What is the value of the x-intercept of a line that passes through these points? Well, we can't find intercepts until we have some kind of equation. Anytime you're given 2 points, you need to use point slope. So I'm going to use slope, so 6 minus 5 over 1 minus 0, y2 minus y1 equals, or over x2 minus x1. So my slope is 1. And then what I'm going to do is start out with a point. I am going to choose the first point. So y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1. So y minus y1 is 5. My slope is 1. My x1 is 0. Now, to make this problem even easier, I'm looking for an x-intercept, which means the y value is equal to 0. So I'm now going to substitute in for y and make it 0. To simplify, I get negative 5, and if I distribute 1, I get x. So negative 5 is equal to the x. So this will cross the x-axis at the point negative 5, 0. Number 6. A line in the xy coordinate plane has a positive y-intercept c and a negative slope. Which statement is true about the x-intercept? To do these problems, I would highly recommend sketching an xy axis. When it's describing pictures, they're very difficult to do unless you draw them. So draw the picture. It says that we have a positive y-intercept. Positive y-intercepts are above the origin, going up. So it's somewhere up there. It also tells us that it has a negative slope. Well, lines that have negative slopes go this direction. So negative slope goes down. We want to know what is true about the x-intercept, which is over here. So this is point C. We're trying to figure out information about the x-intercept. Things we need to know. This location, somewhere to the right of the origin, this would have a positive number, comma, a 0. So the location of that is some positive number, comma, 0. Well, looking at all our answer choices, this value has to be positive. It's always going to be in the positive area over to the right, as long as the slope is negative. Well, the only one that says that the x-coordinate must be positive is option E. X is greater than 0. Greater than 0 means it's located to the right of the origin, which it is. So that's how we know the correct answer is E. Number 7, in the following figure, AB and PQ have lengths of 5. So this is 5 and this is 5. And they are parallel to the x-axis. So that lets us know that this is a straight line. No tilting up, it's completely horizontal. The coordinates of point P are 3, -2. We want to know the coordinates of Q. This problem is not as hard as it seems. So on this problem, the y-coordinate is staying constant. It is not changing. So the y-coordinate is -2, which means it has to stay -2 because the line doesn't go up or down. It's horizontal. Now, if it's 5 units here and this is already 3, I would just do 3 plus 5, which is 8. The difference between 8 and 3 is 5. So 8, -2, which is option E. No distance formula necessary. Number 8, what is the slope of this line? All you're going to do is solve for y. Subtract 3x, -8y equals -3x plus 21. Divide by -8, and -8. Y equals 3/8x minus 21 over 8. Yes, that could probably be simplified, but we're not going to worry. So in this problem, we want the slope. The slope is the number in front of x, which is 3/8. Number 9, in the coordinate plane, what is the x-intercept? X-intercept, y is 0. So it gives me the line. This is in standard form. We can still solve for intercepts. So all I'm going to do is take the y value and replace it with 0. So 2x, that cancels. Divide by 2, and x is 5. Remember, x-intercept, y is 0. Y-intercept, x is 0. All right, we can get everything set up for page 2. So number 10 on this practice, which of the following equations represents the same line? Well, all of these are y equals, which means that we need to set it in y equals form. So I'm going to add 2x, so I get 6y equals 2x plus 14. Divide everything by 6. 2 divided by 6 is 1 over 3x. And 14 divided by 6 will reduce to 7/3. So looking at my answer choices, that is option E. All I'm doing is solving for y and then comparing. Number 11, the line xy coordinate plane is defined such that the y coordinate is found by multiplying the x coordinate by 3 and adding 2. What is the y-intercept of this line? So this problem seems like it's super challenging. Okay, it seems super challenging, but let's set the problem up. So y-coordinate would be y equals multiplying x by 3 and adding 2. They're just basically telling you slope-intercept form, so you just build your equation. Now we want to know what the y-intercept is. Well, if it's a y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So y equals 3 times 0 plus 2. So y is 2. Nothing crazy fancy. I'm just taking x equals 0 and plugging it in and simplifying. Number 13, which of the following statements must be true if it's defined as x equals c for some constant? So I see that I have an xy coordinate plane. I am asked to graph x equals c for some constant c. That just means x equals a number. So x is over here. That's a vertical line. So that is x equals a number. Now we're going to analyze our options. The line is parallel to the y-axis. Well, this is vertical. The y-axis is also vertical, so yes, they are in fact parallel. The line is perpendicular to the x-axis. We did talk about that. Anytime an undefined line and a zero line intersect, they will always be perpendicular. The line has an x and y-intercept of c. What that means is, like, if this line crosses the x-axis at 2, it would also have to cross the y-axis as 2. And that's a tilted line. That's not x equals a number. Like this, that is not bad. Like, this is wrong. It crosses, if it's x equals a number, it's always vertical, so it won't have a y-intercept. So the correct answer is 1 and 2, which is option D. Number 15. If lines A, B, and CD are perpendicular and intersect at P, what is the measure of APB? Draw a picture. So line AB is perpendicular, which means 90 degrees. So here's CD, and it crosses at point P. What is the measure of angle APB? Well, APB, I start at A, go over to P, go over to B. That is a straight line. Straight lines form linear pairs, so it's 180. They're hoping and banking on the fact that you pick option D because you see perpendicular, but remember, we're adding two perpendicular lines or angles together, which would give us 180. Number 16. Let's see, I'm going to cover up the answer choices so you can see the question better. Which of the following is the slope of a line that is parallel to these lines and passes through AB? All it wants to know is, okay, you've got this random line. It's going through AB. That is like terrible. That did not go through AB. You've got this line, and you want to graph like some other line that's parallel. You want to know the slope of that line. To find the slope of the parallel line, you find the slope of the original line. So I'll make, I'll write it right here. 0, 9. Point B is 3, 0. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So now I'm just going to do slope. y2 minus y1, 0 minus 9 over 3 minus 0. Negative 9 over 3 reduces to negative 3. And if we're trying to find a slope that is parallel, that means that the slope is not going to change. So I'm going to leave that at B. Number 17, line AB and L intersect at point C. Which of the following is X? I see a straight line. My brain should go, hey, that's a linear pair. So 5x plus x equals 180. X plus 5x is 6x. When I divide by 6, I get an answer of 30, which is B, because it wants to know the value of x, which means x is 30. No plugging in necessary. For our final question, number 18, what is the slope-intercept form of this line? So that just means I solve for y, so I'm going to subtract 5x. I get 8y equals negative 5x plus 11. Divide everything by 8. Y equals negative 5/8x plus 11 over 8. Now, you might be panicking, looking at these answer choices going, that's not an answer. It is an answer. It's just flipped it around. These equations are in the form of y equals b plus mx. Okay, like that's what that form is. They're just trying to trick you. And honestly, these are not in slope-intercept form, so technically this one would be the right answer if you ask me personally. But slope-intercept form, you're allowed to flip these, so don't panic. So I'm going to start just with the 11/8. So 11/8 should be listed first, and it's here and here, which means those are out. And now I'm going to focus on the slope, which is negative 5/8, which is right in here. So the correct answer is A. Make sure when you're doing those kinds of problems that you're focusing on the equation, and just because they change the format doesn't mean that you don't know how to do the problem. Just adjust your equation to match.